Kathryn here with Handmade by Circle Art Designs. Well, today on my work table, let's make an Amethyst and Lapis lazuli bracelet. I just love this piece. Now look at this. Isn't this a beautiful piece? It has that lapis lazuli as the centerpiece of the bracelet with the amethyst in rounds and in tubes, and I think this is a great way to start off the new year. So let's turn our eyes to the mat. I turn my eyes to the mat. I think about all the weeks that have passed since I have been with you, and I am thankful and blessed to be back with you today. I have had a wonderful rest of Advent and all of Christmas. And then we finished up this last week with Epiphany and the coming of the Kings. And I am just so blessed and so thankful for all the time I got to spend with my family and friends, but also the time I had to just sit back and enjoy the holiday and become closer with my Lord, start some new habits and end some old. So what about you? What are you thankful and blessed for in this new year? Have you taken time to take account? Have you taken time to thank those in your circle of friends and family? All right, my mat's up, so let's go ahead and get started. So today I thought we would make a beautiful little bracelet in Amethyst and Lapis lazuli. We're going to start off with the beadalon. This is in the gold and it's a 7 wrap. And I'm also going to use the beadalon in the number 1 crimp. And then I have this little tray. All these things have come from my own stash. Whoops. Drop them. Let's try it this way. This is a pebble bead. It is a size 11/0 seed bead, and it is in different shades of purple. Then I also have this hex bead, and this is in a purple or amethyst with a beautiful blue flash to it. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? I just love it. Kind of goes between blue and gold in that hex bead. And then we also have, let's see, these beautiful, we've used these maybe before. These are amethyst in those donuts, and I just love them. And I also have some 6mm in amethyst round. It's going to be a gorgeous piece, but let's see here. Get this out of the way. The thing that I love the most is this lapis lazuli center piece that will be the focal. And then I am going to use a snap closure on that. They're easy to do, and we'll also need a couple of the wire guards for this. And even though I showed the snap that I'm going to use, I forgot to take out the lobster claw. But you can use a lobster claw closure in this as well. All right, let's see if I can't get this where you can see what I am doing. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put some of these number 1 crimps. Again, I am using the beadalon crimps. Any crimp that you like will work. This is just over the years what I have found is the most consistent for me. And if I quit moving the camera, let's go ahead and get out some wire. Now let's see here if I can move this out. I'm going to go ahead and I am going to bead on the spool. And I do that so I waste less wire, and I also don't have to measure till I get started. I'm going to start out by putting a crimp on, and isn't that pretty? It's a little gold crimp, and I will also be using some gold in this. And let's play with these beads for just a second and decide what we want to do. When you take a moment and put some of these gold 11/0s out, and while I'm doing that, would you take a moment yourself and like and comment on this video? Thank you so very much for coming back after my Christmas break. I really appreciate that. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, would you please subscribe to this channel and help us get out ahead of the algorithm? Because you know, when you have a long time gone, the algorithm tries to start you all over. And if you would share this, that would be amazing. Thank you so much. Oh, as you can see, I put out some 11Os in that beautiful gold, and I love these seed beads. So again, I'm starting off with a crimp, then I'm going to put one of the, I already put one of the 11Os, then I'm doing one of the purple pebble seed beads, and then a hex, if I can get this picked up on that little wire. You know, I always think I see other people that are using these cute little dishes, and I would love to use these cute little dishes, but I just do not have much joy to get these little seed beads off. And I'm looking around for the hole and I'm going, okay, it's got to be here somewhere. So look at this. Isn't this beautiful? Let me get you a little picture of this. All right, first of all, before you say anything, please do not look at my nails. They're all tattered at the ends and broken because I had been scrubbing several times for people coming in and out of the house. And I have very thin little nails and it just ate the ends off of them. And I didn't even notice until I started doing this. But now then to the picture. This will be our first element for here. We have put on a crimp bead at the very beginning because it is in the gold. Then we put that beautiful pebble seed bead, then the hex bead, and it is a gorgeous blue purple. And if you hit it just right, it does have a slight gold shimmer to it. And then we'll do another pebble bead, and then we will put on one of the 11O seed beads in that gorgeous gold. So when we crimp, we'll have it at the one end and we'll have the seed bead at the other end. Okay, let's continue on. So after telling you that was going to be component one, while I was looking at my nails, I thought I picked up the beautiful little connector you see over on the right. And I thought, you know, I was going to start at the end and move forward, but I think I'm going to start in the middle. So I went ahead and took that component off. It is one of the components we will be using, but I think I'm going to start from the middle so that I can go ahead and put that connector on. And see how the beads are going to look for that. So for that, let's see here if I can't show you what we are doing. Now I have put on, here, let's hold, oh, come on, Kathryn. This will be the main component with the amethyst that we are putting on. It will consist of those beautiful little amethyst donuts. I guess you could call them rondelles, but they look like little donuts to me, and I got them from Hobby Lobby. So let me show you what I am doing here. I have put on a combination of the amethyst in the 6mm rounds and in those beautiful 6mm across donuts. And then at the very end, I have gone ahead and I have put on that component one. So once I get this up here where you can see it, I will take a little picture and I'll explain to you what I'm going to do. So starting from where my finger is, that is that beautiful Lapis Lazuli connector that we're going to use as the centerpiece for this bracelet. On the stringing process, I took off that component one because I wanted to go ahead and start at the center, which here, where I was going to start on the end. So we will put, for the center, we have got a 11O seed bead, then 2 of the amethyst donuts. an 11-0 and that gold seed bead, and I said 6mm, but this is a 5, I believe, of the amethyst again. Then an 11-0 seed bead, 2 more of the donuts, and an 11-0 seed bead. And that would be your amethyst component for this one, or component 2. So again, seed bead, 2 donuts, seed bead, your round bead, seed bead, 2 donuts, seed bead, and that ends that component. Now I have followed that by the component 1 where I showed the picture. I do not have to put on an 11-0 again because I have finished out that second component with an 11-0. So we'll do the pebble seed bead, the hex bead, the pebble seed bead, and then an 11-0. And this is going to be the start of the middle of the bracelet. This bracelet will be made in 2 sections. And I thought about doing component 1 to begin with, but that just puts that lapis lazuli so far away from your amethyst when you actually put it on your wrist. And I wanted to bring that beautiful purpley blue amethyst back closer to the lapis lazuli. All right, we're ready to continue on. I think this is just going to be a lovely piece. In fact, I know it's a lovely piece because I made it and then I gave it as a gift over the holiday seasons. Isn't that pretty? All right, so now then, I have finally decided I am through digging in my little circles. Oh, God bless all of y'all who can do that, and it works well for you. I don't know if I don't have the dexterity, if my hands shake too much or what, but or my glasses are too short, but I can't see them though in that, and I just chase them around like a little cup. All right, I put 2 donuts on after finishing that component 1, and then I have done another one of the 11-0s. I have put on the round. I'm going to put on another one of the 11-0s, then 2 more of the donuts, and I'm going to put on another 11-0. I'm sorry, I thought of something. I had a wonderful comment over the holidays. They said if you're having trouble, her name was Mary Kay. And she said if you were having problems with the seed beads, because I have to tell you, I have a tendency when I'm not selling this to lick my finger so that I can get them to stick on my finger. She said if you would put a double-sided tape, just a little piece on your finger, it would pick those beads up for you, and then you would be able to get them up where you can see them, because I have bifocals, and it would keep them in one little area. And I am going to try that. What a great tip. Thank you, Mary Kay. All right. So again, I am going I should have gone ahead and put some of these out. Yep, there they go. I'm going to go ahead and do the component 1 after I've finished up component 2. And remember, I did the seed bead with component 2. So I'm doing a pebble, a hex, a seed bead, and a pebble and a seed bead. Now let's look at this, and this is going to be the pattern. Hang on just a second. Right, looking at this picture, starting at the right hand with my thumb and pointer finger, we have that crimp bead, then 2 donuts, an 11-0 gold seed bead, your round bead, an 11-0 seed bead, 2 donuts, an 11-0 seed bead. That is component 2. Component 1, we end up with the pebble seed bead in that beautiful mixed purple. Then we have that purple in the hex bead and a pebble bead, and we finish up with an 11-0 seed bead. So with this one, because we're starting in the middle of the bracelet, we're going to put component 2, then component 1. After component 1, you'll pick up with component 2. And component 2, again, is your 11-0 seed bead, 2 donuts, seed bead, round bead, seed bead, 2 donuts, seed bead, and then you go back into component 1. And we're going to do this all the way around to the first side of the bracelet. Now remember that when you are beading, you're actually going to do 2 sides of this bracelet joined with that beautiful lapis lazuli connector in the center. Okay. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and finish this up, and when I get to half the length of my bracelet, I will be right back. I just love it. I have finished up with that component 1. Let me get this a little bit out of the way so we can see what we're going to do. And yes, I did end up taking every one of those seed beads and the hex beads and some of my other beads. I took them out of the little tray and I put them on my mat because that's the way I work best. But you know, it's really nice to try new things, and everybody looks so neat whenever they make their stuff. I am just not a neat person. All right, I have put on a crimp on the end of that, just like that. And I am ready to get started. This is our wire guard. It protects the wire from the rubbing up and down when you're wearing jewelry. You go ahead and put it in a tube and you go around the top and you put it back down on the other side. I think of it as an upside down U. Now my daughter thinks of it as a small N, but I think of it as an upside down U. Alrighty, so now we have this beautiful connector right here. We're going to go ahead and put it into the wire guard itself. I will not be using the jump rings for this. Now remember, I started out with that crimp, so we're going to move that crimp up. And I did end up going ahead and putting a component 1 here. I like it. The person I gave it to loves it because they have a slightly wider wrist. But for me, if this had not been a present, I would have just put a seed bead and moved those donuts all the way up. But for the person I was making it for, this was just a perfect fit and a beautiful look on her wrist. Okay, so we're going ahead and we're threading it through our pebble and our hex bead and our pebble bead right there. I like to use a tail because I want to make sure that it fits really well. And now I need to go ahead and get out my crimpers. As I was trying to explain a while ago, look at that beautiful connector. When you measure your wrist, make sure that you take off the length for the connector with the wire guard on it and the wire guard on the other side and your clasp, whatever your clasp will be. Subtract that from the length of your bracelet. Once you have done that, go ahead and divide it by 2, and you will have the length for either side. Remember, if it's a little tight for yourself or the person you're giving it to, you can always add an extender as long as you don't use a magnetic clasp or a snap. But if you're using those, you need to really be accurate. And it's better, I think, to err slightly too big than slightly too small. Alrighty, so let's continue on. Isn't that pretty? I just love that. All right. Let's put it on and make sure it's going to fit me. And look how that looks. Isn't that going to be beautiful? It is really pretty. And I just love that component 1 right by it. Like I said, if it was for me, I would probably leave out the component 1. But for me, for my friend, that is a perfect fit, and I just love it. So give yourself grace when you're doing things like this, and make sure that you think of the person you're making it for, or think of your general audience if you're selling it, or what you like personally. And I have to tell you, if you are not happy with your jewelry when you're doing it or anything else in life, it will show when you put it out, and others will not be happy with it either. I sold for many years in conventions, and boy, did I learn that trying to follow the trends and not liking what was going on. And then I ended up being so unhappy. All right. Let's go ahead and get this finished up. I've cut my wire. I am adding that little extender on the other end. And for some reason, I didn't show you when I crimped, so I'm going to show you now. I have gone ahead and put on my wire guard just like that. I'm going to go around just like that. Down through the tube on the other side. And then I have that beautiful little snap closure, and I just love these. They're easy. Okay, they're not as easy as the memory wire bracelets. Those are my absolute favorite to wear because you just put them on and they are there. And there is no messing and hustle and bustle with that. But I'm going to go ahead and put on my little snap. And here I am having a little trouble with the snap being able to go through the wire guard. Now I'll tell you what I did. One side seemed to go on fairly easily. The other side did not. And I had to take my pliers once I got the wire through and very gently make the little tube slightly smaller. And then it fit in. Just like that. So now then, this is ready. I've put it through there. I've put the wire through there. And let's see here. I am ready to crimp. I've taken out my crimper so to have a half a circle at the back that's large. Put it in the back, mash between, and it should make a beautiful little M. I thought I showed it to you, but I guess I did not because I think my hands are in picture. But let's try this one more time. I have got the M. Oh, come on, Kathryn, get in picture. Then you bring it to the front, do a fourth a turn, and mash the M together. Give it a good yank. When you give it a good yank, if it holds, yippee! If it doesn't, you got to take that off and do it again. But there you go. And I cut the excess wire, and just like with the front, that connector right there, I made sure that it was taut, but not tight. If it's tight, it'll buckle. And here is the other side. Now, isn't that pretty? And look at that little snap. And you want to run a little bit of your tail down through your beads on both sides. So for this one, we actually have 4 wire guards, 4 crimps. I crimped at the connector in the middle, and I crimped at the snap. Now look at your snaps. They should come already snapped. You should have a beautiful little piece on the front. But when you put that snap on the other side, it looks like you are putting it on, I'm sorry, not the snap, the little bead. It looks like it's wrong, but it's not. You want the finished piece to lay against your arm and the finished piece to be looking up. All right, here is the finished bracelet. Now, isn't that lovely? I just love this little bracelet. And you take the snap, whether it's on, and you just, it literally goes in a little hole and you just mash it down and there it is. I couldn't get any easier than that unless it was a stretch bracelet or a memory wire. But that is gorgeous. Isn't that beautiful? Lapis lazuli and amethyst. What a perfect combination. Now, if I had had one more of these connectors, I would have made one of these for myself. But I know the person who got it, this is some of their favorite colors. Like I said, you just mash it together. And this is for a friend, so this is a little looser than what I would like to wear it. But it's just beautiful. It fit perfectly for them. And I just think it is so pretty. And here are some pictures. Thank you for joining today on this beading adventure. I love doing this. The beads that I got, some of them were from bargain bead boxes in the past. Others of them were from Hobby Lobby. But look in your own stash, see what you have, and make one of these beautiful connector bracelets for yourself. It doesn't have to be the same thing I used, but it has to be something that brings you joy. Oh, God bless you. God keep you safe. May you have an amazing beading adventure of your own until we meet next week. God bless. Kathryn, Handmade by Circle Art Designs. Goodbye, y'all. Have a great weekend.